friend. We travel together all over the place. So we do that. Take some friends together for Charlotte Pie. Hey, Jill! Hey, Jill! Jill! You want to hear me? I came for you, dear. Our dear friend Alan just finished reading the Declaration of Independence for us. He also read our list of political prisoners. I never thought in 48 years on this planet that I would see political prisoners in my nation. A nation I dedicated 12 years of my life serving. I never thought that a United States Marine Corps veteran, standing up for what he was trained to believe in, would be incarcerated for standing up and defending the very Constitution that he swore an oath to defend and uphold. John Ritzheimer is released pending trial for standing up for his rights, your rights, our natural, unalienable, inherent rights imbued upon us at conception, not birth. The moment we are conceived, Earth and her Creator give us these rights. Every human being that walks the foot on this planet has these rights, not just Americans. That Declaration of Independence was based upon a congressional proclamation presented to the Second Continental Congress known as the Lee Resolution. It was presented to the Second Continental Congress on June 7th of 1776. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia presented it, and it was seconded by John Madison of Massachusetts. It was a three-part resolution to declare independence from Great Britain, to list the necessity for foreign alliances, and that we needed the 13th state to form a Confederacy or a union. They would have ratified it in June, except the delegates from the 13 colonies were not empowered to vote on the independence. So they tabled it for 3 weeks. On July 2nd, 1776, our true Independence Day,
We are going to do that.
the Lee Resolution was ratified.
We want to reach people where they are.
Okay. And it was approved by 12 of the colonies, with New York being the only colony that did not approve because it still was not allowed to vote on that, and so it abstained from the vote. So it still was a unanimous vote. Between the dates of June 11th and July 5th, the Committee of Five, thank you. Between the dates of June 11th and July 5th of 1776, the Committee of Five, comprised of John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston, sat and wrote the Declaration of Independence, which our friend Alan read so beautifully for us earlier. And it was approved on July 4th and published July 5th. But again, our independence from Great Britain was solidified by the ratification of the Lee Resolution in the Second Continental Congress on July 2nd of 1776. The states precede the federal government. Amen. The states precede the federal government. The states are nations. Think about the wonderful state of Texas in which we reside. We are known as the what of Texas? The Republic of Texas. The Republic of Texas. We are a sovereign state. All of the 13 original colonies were sovereign nations. The that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, and states is capitalized, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. Frankly, I would like to write a new resolution and call it the Symes Resolution, whereby all 50 of our independent sovereign states dissolve allegiance to the District of Columbia.
May I get one from you?
You're here.
Thank you. I was going to order
The second part of the Lee Resolution, that it is expedient forthwith to take the most effectual measures for forming foreign alliances.
right here.
And finally, that a plan of confederation be prepared and transmitted to the respective colonies for their consideration and approbation. Approbation meaning approval. Official sanction and approval. Take note that the Lee Resolution and the Declaration of Independence were both written 11 years prior to our current Constitution being ratified. For 11 years, the federal government was not even a concept. It was not even in existence. There was no District of Columbia. There was no office of a president. The Continental Congress did not have an executive officer. I cannot stress enough that the states are first. And understand that a declaration, here you are, synonyms being notice, bulletin, manifesto, or edict, is the act of declaring an announcement, a positive, explicit, or formal statement, a proclamation, a declaration, an edict, a manifesto, a bulletin, a notice of independence. The state simply said, we are independent. Our founders fought the Revolutionary War between April 19th of 1775 through September 3rd of 1783. The Constitution was not sat down and written until during the Philadelphia Convention of May 25th, 1787 through September 17th of 1787. How did our colonies govern themselves? They were independent nations. They declared their independence. They established their independence. They placed themselves on equal footing with Great Britain, Spain, and, yes, the Holy Roman Empire. And they formed that political union under the Articles of Confederation, which preceded the Constitution, and was the union of government, in order to do four things: levy war, secure peace, negotiate treaties, and establish foreign commerce. And that was it. That was the only purpose. And it is still the only purpose for a single government. The concept of a republican form of government is not new. It was based on Plato's Republic and other nations that had attempted a republican form of government but had failed, because instead of having free people with representation and allowing themselves to be free, they had emperors set over kings, and the kings had their own worries and concerns for their kingdom to maintain. If we were to say that the Republic of Texas, the state of Tennessee, or the Commonwealth of Virginia were not free and independent states, then we should well enough go to the now European Union and tell Germany, Spain, and France that they are no longer free and sovereign nations. And we will be laughed out of those free, sovereign nations. For they formed a union for political and economic reasons, and not for giving up their sovereignty. Our government is a creation of our Constitution by the state, for the people, and is inferior to the people and the state. Our federal government has no lawful, natural right, common law standing to charge any of these 26 men and women with made-up bullshit crimes.
Amen. Amen.
I agree.
The state cannot be a victim. There were no victims in this alleged crime. No one's property was damaged, no injury was incurred, and nothing was embezzled from anyone. Therefore, no crime has occurred. The state cannot be a victim, and the federal government are inferior to the people and to the state, and it is time that we set them straight. We need to let them know. We need to tell them that they not only need to free every one of our political prisoners, but that they need to drop all charges, return to their 10 square miles, and remain there until called out to levy war, negotiate peace, establish treaties, or work with foreign commerce. And other than that, sit there and shut up.
Bravo!
Woo!
Amen.
In Federalist Papers number 78, Alexander Hamilton was addressing the issue of the judiciary, which was a question, because in England there was not much justice in the judicial branch. Feel familiar? So he said, there is no position which depends on clearer principles than that every act of a delegated authority, contrary to the tenor of the commission under which it is exercised, is void. No legislative act, therefore, contrary to the Constitution, can be valid. To deny this would be to affirm that the deputy is greater than his principal, that the servant is above his master, that the representative of the people are superior to the people themselves, that men acting by virtues of power may do not only what their powers do not authorize, but what they forbid. It is almost as if Mr. Hamilton had a crystal ball and was seeing into the future of what is happening today. Our representatives feel above us. In the United States Representative District 19, in which I and Cynthia reside, Representative Randy Nuggerbauer refused to provide more than 25 copies of the Constitution because he is retiring and could not see any reason to provide more than that. He does not represent us. It is his job as our representative to speak for us. He does not speak for us. I mentioned before the Articles of Confederation that were in existence and written during 1776 through 77 and ratified in 1781. Yeah, it took a little bit of time for the colonies to come on board. And they were replaced in 1789 by our current Constitution. And yes, our Constitution was ratified September 17th of 1787, but it was not finally put into place until 1789.
I should know better. I'm a military brat.
I read through the Articles of Confederation last night, and Article 2 jumped out at me off the page. Article 2 of the Articles of Confederation is very important. Why it was not transferred in whole, I don't know. But we will get to where it was transferred in a moment. Article 2 of the Articles of Confederation states, each state retains its sovereignty, freedom, and independence, and every power, jurisdiction, and right, which is not by this Confederation expressly delegated to the United States and Congress assembled. So even before the central government that we have today was established, our founders knew that the states were sovereign, independent, and equal to each other and above the central government. Article 4, Section 4, which is on page 15 of your Constitution, guarantees a republican form of government to every nation in this union. Every state in this union is guaranteed a republican form of government. And it furthermore goes on that we are to be protected against invasion and domestic violence by our federal government. And yet, as we saw, January 26th of 2016, it was our very own federal government that performed domestic violence against its people. Through the murder of Lavoy Finicum and the unlawful kidnapping and further incarceration of our patriots. Men and women who simply stood upon the very principles and foundation of this Constitution, which is a contract between the original 13 and now all 50 independent free sovereign states for what the duties, the four basic duties of the state will be. And those duties, again, are to levy war, negotiate peace, establish treaties, and deal with foreign commerce. Everything else remains with the states. Our 10th Amendment is very, very clear. And this is where Article 2 of the Articles of Confederation were brought into our Constitution. Through the arguments of the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers that occurred between the ratification and implementation of our Constitution. Amendment 10 states the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So if it ain't listed in here in Article 1 of the Constitution as a responsibility of the federal government, it ain't their job. Get out. Woo!
Exactly.
There's nothing listed in Article 1 that says, go about by presidential proclamation known as executive order and steal state land and set it aside as a nature preserve named the Mount Hood Preserve, which was done by Theodore Roosevelt in 1908, some 50 years after Oregon was established as a state. Every time a state attains statehood, it is given an enabling clause and is entered under what is called equal footing doctrine, which means it is on the same and equal status as the original 13 colonies of states that declared their independence on July 2nd of 1776. So the state of Oregon is equal to the state of Maryland, the state of Georgia, the state of New York, the state of New Jersey. And therefore, once it became a state, that formerly Western territory that was in the hands of the federal government for the sole purpose of clearing the Revolutionary War debt by the selling of that Western territory to create new states, any unsold land was given to Oregon. It belonged to Oregon. It was not up to President Theodore Roosevelt to come along and by Executive Order 929 in August of 1908 set aside the Mount Hood Reserve, as it was called at that time, for the sole purpose of wetlands for birds. Look it up. You can read it. reserve at that time and has since grown to 185,000 acres and continues to grow. The federal government is subservient to the states and to the people. In my opinion, the most important amendment in our Bill of Rights is the 9th Amendment. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Let me read that to you again. The enumeration or listing in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed or understood to deny or disparage others retained by the people. In other words, we the people have and hold all the rights. Notice in Amendment 9 it does not say that there are any prohibited by the Constitution as it did in Amendment 10. It says that don't think for a second that just because we list them here that these are all you get. What it's doing is saying that just because we list them here, they still got more. We retain the right. Those men and women who walked onto federal land and took a federal building while brandishing arms were in their rights to do so. Because, as was stated in the Declaration of Independence, our king refuses to listen to our grievances. Our king and his princes, our various governors of our various sovereign states who have sold and exchanged our sovereignty for a pittance of money that used to be guaranteed to come from the states directly to the federal government and was stolen from us by an unlawfully, never fully ratified Amendment 16. The states allow the federal government to rape us financially every month and then give our money back to our states. So again, I say, Amendment 9 is the most important amendment because we, the free, independent, and sovereign people, hold all the rights. We hold all the cards. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. And I cannot go on, because all of this has been twisted and used against us to establish a federal government that has not only stepped outside the bounds of its Constitution, but has stepped outside the bounds of all reason, all natural law, all divine providence, and has become worse than any British monarch in history. Even King Henry VIII appealed to the Pope until he got tired of Catherine. I'm going to close by saying that we are our founders' children. We are the posterity. We are the 1% here, standing here today, remembering a man who laid his life down for his brethren, and for other men and women who were willing to literally pledge their lives and their fortunes for our liberty. And it is up to us to rally the remaining 2% so that we can form that 3%, just as our founders were only 3% of the population. And we must rally, we must fight, and we must be ready to take up arms. Because I'm telling you today, they're not listening. DC does not care. Austin does not care. They lie and they pander to us to secure next election cycle, while we do everything that we can to scratch and scrimp and do everything to just feed our families and keep a roof over our heads. And if you're like me, a veteran, disabled, fighting the very agency that owes her money, that pays her a whole $133 a month to live on, is forced to rely upon housing and urban development for a home and Lone Star card for food, and is made to feel every time that the mail is opened that she is a vassal or a serf in the kingdom begging for crumbs. This is not the country or the union that I serve for. This is not the Constitution that I vowed and affirmed and oath to defend and uphold. I will uphold this Constitution. If it means I have to sit in a cell next to John Ritzheimer, then by God I will.
Bravo.
And I will be honored to stand next to that Marine, because I am not worthy to shine that Marine's boots. I am just a chair force girl. Sorry, just a little bit of veteran humor there. We have to continue to tell the truth. We must get this out, because the truth don't tell itself, folks. May liberty prevail. Thank you.
Thank you. Bravo.
Thank you, sir. That was amazing. That's like,
I would like to say one more thing. That is something that Chris Ann Hall said recently. What legacy do we want to leave? Do you want to leave a legacy of slavery or a legacy of liberty? And liberty doesn't just involve freedom. There are two parts to liberty. Liberty is freedom plus morality. We have to become a moral people again in order to regain liberty. It's not going to happen otherwise. We have to stand up. Thanks. Bravo! Bravo! Yes. Would anyone else care to speak? Anyone?
that's right.
We got one more thing to say. We've given out a lot of information here up and down this road. Thank you, Gladys.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Right. He's probably still out. Oh, he is over there. Hey, I encourage you to make one of these your personal constitution, because on the back of it, there's a contract you've got to fulfill.
Yeah,
The
and I
original
don't
starter. I, as one of we, the people of the United States, affirm that I have read or will read our U.S. Constitution, pledge to maintain and promote its standard of liberty for myself and my posterity. I do here attest to that by my signature. This one will have my name written on it. I encourage you to write your name on your own. Learn it inside and out. And also follow up to what Charlotte said in the front of this book. There are preserving principles, quotes by our founding fathers. One of the favorite ones of mine, it was just an observation by a fellow named Daniel Webster. I am committed against everything which in my judgment may weaken, endanger, or destroy the Constitution, and especially against all extension of executive power, and am committed against any attempt to rule the free people of this country by the power and patronage of the government itself. Daniel Webster.
Thank you. Would you care to speak, Gladys?
I just want to say that doing my family research, I discovered that my ancestors came over in the early 1700s, and they fought in the Revolutionary War.
Yes.
And I cannot, after they shed their blood for the enjoy. Hold this out. Up and sing. Thank you, and God bless America.
You are a true daughter of the revolution. Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Anything?
You guys are really good. Nice style. I'm going to tell everybody.
Are you speaking?